It's once again time to take a look at your home cockpits, because today I'm gonna do another cockpit review. Today's video is brought to you by GameGlass. GameGlass allows you to take control of your ship from a tablet or phone. Not only that, but you also get on-screen information about your ship, your targets, and the world around you. So gone are the days where you have no more room for your key bindings, or you have to alt-tab out of the game to look up market data. On top of that, GameGlass also works with Star Citizens, so follow the link in the video description and try GameGlass for free. If you like it and want more shards and features, you can buy them individually, or you can subscribe to GlassPass. Use offer code DTEA on checkout and get 5% off your first purchase. First cockpit comes to us from Commander AI Keenon, and he sent this in quite a while ago, but I figured I would still take it because there is some, at least one interesting thing you may have noticed down here at the bottom. But just quickly start. First thing I actually also noticed was this weird opening in his desk. So he's running with like a dual monitor setup, unsolved Rubik's Cube. That needs to be fixed. That hurts. But no, you can see he's running dual monitor setup. I'm not sure what that is. Simple webcam, it seems. Pretty standard. I think he might be playing some kind of instrument. At least there's a amp over here. But of course, what we're interested in is his actual cockpit setup, where you can see he's running an X52. We can also see it is the Logitech branded version, so it is a newer version of it than the older Cytec variant. And also, of course, this panel here, which we are going to take a closer look at here in a second. So we get a better view here, top down. We can again see these Hotas, some kind of brackets they're mounted on. Looks like either they are made to look like carbon fiber, or it is actually carbon fiber, but they're at least mounted on something here to the chair. We can see, okay, so he's running the cables over here, probably the bottom of this PC. Now, this panel here is, of course, what I think is interesting. He wrote us an email that is a homemade, he made this himself, and you can see it looks like it's backlit. I was trying to identify what the different icons did on it, but I'm not really sure. I mean, that one's probably Super Cruise, that's probably jumping. I would guess something like this is maybe map and galaxy map. But many of the other icons, I can't really identify what exactly they do. Well done making a homemade button panel, especially with the backlighting. I don't think that's necessarily super easy. The funny thing with the X52, compared to many other Hotases, is it only has a single USB stick. Often on other joysticks, you will find, even if you buy them in a set, that they have two separate USB sockets, one for the throttle and one for the Hotas. And that's often because people want to get around the 32 button limit, so by having them as two separate devices. But because the X52 is a older design, it doesn't have that many button inputs, and that's why they are running it with a single cable, and they're then connected via these PS2 cables that it seems like he has running underneath the chair. Oh, beautiful shot of it here in the dark. You can really see it lights up, even with the different colors. That looks awesome. I wonder if it's addressable, so you can like have it change colors as you play. Awesome, well done. Love it. Also love when we see custom stuff and not just off-the-shelf things that people have plugged together. So that's awesome. Thanks a lot for sending it in. The next cockpit here, I don't actually know his commander name. He only wrote his real name. Not going to use that in the video. So this is going to be from Commander Dave. And Commander Dave, as you can see, once again, he is sporting a also very homebrew setup for his X52. I believe this must be, I can't see it now because of the rubber band, but he has these like rubber bands that he used to, or like, I don't know what these are called, but he used for bikes and stuff like that, to tie down his Hotas. You can even see a few, like, either they're books or pieces of wood or something to prop it up to a proper height, I guess. And has that mounted on some kind of, desk mount or something. Similar situation over here with the throttle. Also, again, being tied down by these rubber bands. Of course, this works well on the X52, where you don't really have a whole lot on the base. I could see this setup here being an issue on other throttles, where you have a lot of buttons on the base. But yeah, also he wrote that he plays exclusively in VR. He has his Quest 2, I believe it is, up here. But I also noticed that he does have a tracker for track IR, as well as a webcam up here at the top. So I don't know if he once at some point used track IR and then swapped over to VR. But yeah, I assume it's a house with such a subwoofer on the floor. I would assume if you're living in an apartment, somebody underneath you would be super happy. Gaming PC over here. I've been looking at this one though and couldn't really figure out what exactly it was. I was wondering if it was like a UPS or maybe a storage something. I don't know. Wasn't really sure. But there's something there. And again, as I said, we have the quest up here. We have a number of, they look like charging stations for cameras and stuff like that. We have some Xbox controllers here, probably for driving SRVs. I often see this, especially in people playing VR, that people will have an Xbox controller or something like that lying around because they prefer to use that when they drive the SRV. They move away from the Hotas. Personally, I use my Hotas for the SRV thing. It's fine. Nice setup. I like it. Personally, I would miss the second monitor, but again, if you are playing VR, I would assume, well, mostly in VR, then a second monitor is not really going to do you much good anyway. Next up, we got the cockpit of Commander Jared SecretLab, and he has also a very DIY. He's also a VR player. First of all, we notice a split keyboard. They've noticed that before, like an ergonomic one, so you don't have the don't like have your hands like that when you write on the keyboard, but you have it in more natural position. He does have a second keyboard. We're going to see that in a second. Headset there, and I also noticed the Logitech G gaming speakers that has the little, you can see the little like shiny panels in here. Those are lighting up so they can be LED controlled, and they can also mirror colors on your screen and all kind of stuff. I did a review of one of these monitors actually a while back. Of course, in terms of space gear, he is running a newer version of the X56, it seems. Of course, the older X56 is the one with the blue paint on. This is the one with the gray paint, so this is a newer variant of it, but of course the button layout and everything is the same. So here you can see his chair. He has, again, some kind of plates mounted on it. Very neat cable routing with it going underneath the chair. He said that he has a USB hub mounted underneath the chair because, of course, the X56, as we are running here, is one of those devices that uses two USB cables. So to avoid running two cables from the chair to the computer, he's running them underneath the chair to a USB hub, which I then would assume is powered. So maybe he has to run power. That would be two cables anyway. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But at least he says he's running it to a USB hub, so he only has one cable going over. So maybe it's just drawing enough power. Though I don't know with the newer version, but the older version of the X56 here, it did have sometimes issue with USB hubs. I assume he doesn't, but sometimes he does have issues with USB hubs in terms of power, ghost presses, those kind of things. But it's a really clean setup. I love the like grayscale. He's gone through the whole setup, both with this, with the monitors, with the keyboard. Everything is just grayscale. It actually looks pretty sick. Here we see the setup from the top. Again, we can see he has three monitors. I'm not sure if that Apple, but probably not going to be used as a monitor. Maybe that's just a second computer. I don't know. But we can see again he has a VR headset. He has his controllers, and now you can see what that board was for. So there's this little extra ledge on either side, and you actually see here the joysticks are actually mounted physically. You can see the screws going in here. So this actually screwed into the little plate here. But the board here seems to be just lying there, where you can put like a keyboard on. So he has access to a keyboard even while he is playing, like a secondary keyboard. Just to finish the aesthetics, I would actually have considered just giving this a coat of black paint or white or something like that, just to make it fit in, because everything else is black and white, grayscale, and looks awesome, and that kind of stands out a little bit. But other than that, it's a nice setup. Oh yeah, he also did mention that, of course, he has his phone stand over here, where he normally would have his phone sitting. But obviously he's using it right now for taking pictures. That's why it is not there. We get a side view of it. We can see, I believe this is probably the one from monstertech. Either he just bought his own extruded aluminum, or he bought the one from monstertech. It could be the one from monstertech. I don't know. But at the very least, it also seems he had needed a little bit extra stability over here. You can see the mouse has been strapped in with some Velcro straps just to give it a little bit more rigidity. So it doesn't bounce around as much. And then finally, first of all, of course, we get a view of his co-pilot, and there we can actually see the USB hub mounted underneath one of the plates there. So we have the two cables coming in, and it actually looks like that is a very short cable with just a normal USB plug there. So I would assume he has a longer cable, which is actually a nice idea to have a break in the middle of the cable. So if somebody does trip on it, hopefully that's going to be the weakest link, so the cable's just going to disconnect on the middle, and you're not going to end up like breaking a USB port on the PC, or breaking a USB port, or like ripping the whole USB hub out or something like that. So it kind of breaks in the middle. That's actually a pretty neat idea, especially as you saw he has a VR headset. If he is playing in VR, and I don't know, you probably should be sitting still, but stuff can happen when you have cables running across the room like that. So having a breakaway thing in the middle is probably a pretty good idea. The next cockpit is from Commander Bjorn Jakeson. It almost sounds like Icelandic, maybe Norwegian, something like that. And this is another one of those like fold-away commander chairs, and I really love these. I've seen a number of these through some of the other reviews that I've done, and they're awesome. We got a top-down view of the commander chair here. We can see he has his joysticks mounted to the side. He has a little extra button panel, and he clearly also uses this for sim racing, since he has the racing wheel up here at the front. And we can also see pedals down here, again, probably also for racing, can of course also be used for Elite. Maybe use the reel for driving SRVs too. We have another VR player, and then a wireless Logitech keyboard with a touchpad on it, so you don't need a mouse. But I actually noticed that he does have a mouse, like a ball mouse over here. Again, so you don't have to move the mouse around, just use this ball to move the mouse around. And here we see it folded away. I've seen these, again, a number of times in the Cockpit reviews, and I really think it is super, super nice. Because you can take this, and everything is mounted to the chair. So you take this, you can put this in like a closet somewhere or wherever. You could stow it away. And since he's playing VR, he's not that dependent on having it right in front of a screen on a more permanent setup. You can take this, put it away, and when you need it, you take it out, fold it out, everything is mounted. It's probably just one, maybe two cables that goes into a computer, and then you're up and running. Super awesome, and it has probably a ton of virpil as well. Right, here we actually get the full setup plugged in. Apparently he's playing off a laptop, and it looks like he's from the UK, judging from the power brick over here. Cable there, 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 and then there's like this thing, which I have no idea what it is, but it's clearly, it's something that he's like zip tied together. It looks like it's like maybe it's loose and has a tendency to fall out. So he took a piece of Velcro and zip tied it around the cable and then put the opposite side of the Velcro there to kind of be able to lock the cable in or something like that. Maybe he has a worn out USB port, or I don't know what's going on, but maybe it's just like one of those where there's a bad connection, he would lose connection. So to like pull, I don't know, I'm just guessing here. Oh, here's the thing I just realized, look at that. Here on the side of the steering wheel, that's the mouse. So the mouse is like, so you have your mouse handled like that and you move it with a thumb. Interesting. That's a very interesting mouse setup. I've never seen anything like that. I wonder if that's a mouse too, or if that's just, no, that looks like just mounted, because there's a similar one. We can see just the edge of it over here. But you can see there, that is the mouse that's being mounted on the side of the steering wheel. That is a very, very weird position for a mouse, but I guess it would work. And the final cockpit from today is from Commander Quantum Tommy. And if you are in doubt, yes, he is a very big Star Wars fan. And first of all, that's a very clean setup. Very little in terms, there's one cable there I can spot. But other than that, of course, there's stuff running behind the monitors. But other than that, that is a clean setup. Very well cable managed. Thumbs up, I like that. Now it looks like he's running two separate setups here. I can see at least one machine here, which I assume is hooked up to the three monitors here. And then with a second set of peripherals over here, I assume that's the monitor there. Oh, look at that. There's a little shelf or like little mounting point for a controller. Awesome. So maybe the setup over here is for working and the triple monitor setup over here is for gaming. I don't know, but regardless, it's an awesome setup. We can also notice, of course, the little extra TV, which I like this setup, by the way, where he put up like the flag with the warp effect and then mounted the TV to it, but he's running the cables behind the flag. So there's probably like a hole in the middle of the flag where you can run all cables in. So it's super clean. So you can sit here and you can just have Star Wars play on repeat up here while he's flying his spaceships on the machine down here. That is awesome. Now I'm just going to show you the rest of his room here, because he did send in a few pictures that's not necessarily of the gaming setup. So here we have a couch or a bed, which is also very Star Wars themed. We have another Star Wars poster here, and we have the shelves over here, which he also sent in a separate picture of. There we go, with like figurines, R2-D2s, there's Star Wars books, it seems. Everything is Star Wars. So I think it's safe to say that we are dealing with someone who is quite a bigger fan of Star Wars. But those were the cockpits I decided to review today. If you want your cockpit reviewed in a future video, then do send some pictures and some videos. and a little bit of text describing how you play, what's your commander name, just some basic information. And then maybe, if you're lucky, you'll be included in a future video. But that's a bit for this, but thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys in space.